Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So, following on from our iron review week,
yes,
we just ran through our players' forged irons, a little comparison. The Apex Pro 21 is here.
People are so interested in it, in fact, that even though the last video we did was technically just about like forged construction irons, this is a hollow body. People were kind of going, I really want to see that Apex Pro in there. I know it's not the right class of iron, but the curiosity with this, I'm assuming, is I look at this and someone says hollow body and I think, I can't imagine how. It's so small. Like the profile is really, really nice and compact. And I think it will really appeal to people for that reason because they'll think of it as a P790, right?
I think so. And that's where it's these subcategories within the iron game. There used to be players irons, game improvement, super game improvement. Now it's like being sliced up 5-6 different ways.
At least,
so, you know, this has been called players performance.
Which I think makes a lot of sense because you may find someone who's an extremely good ball striker. They want this for what, the ball speed increases? Fair to say.
Yeah.
So players performance, and then what was it? Used to be players distance.
Yeah.
I guess players distance is P790.
Yeah. And it's a bit of a chameleon, this guy, because you know, you look at what it compare with. It can pair up well with Apex 21, the regulars. You could even see a three-way combo where the DCB as a long iron, a mid iron in the Apex, and then some short irons in Apex Pros.
That would make a gorgeous set.
But there's a little combo configuration that you may have your eye on.
So Callaway's been really nice to us. They've been sending us fully built spec irons to both of our spec. So we have irons from Apex Pro built up. Apex MB we still have in the shop. I kind of took the two of them out and put them side by side and thought, I wonder if that would make a really nice combo set. To be honest, that Apex MB is one of the best looking clubs I've ever seen at a dress for an iron. So the fact that these even, to my eye, are possibly going to be combo with that, I think it's a compliment to the look of these just to begin with. For someone watching this going, why would anyone bother with this combo set? Like, it seems a little complicated to me. Why don't you just buy a set of irons? Would you say kind of the appeal of it is in the short irons, you don't necessarily want a club that produces extra ball speed. You're more concerned about flyers. You want your distance control because you want to hit, you know, a smaller target. When it comes to longer irons, less of a concern, and you need the forgiveness. Is that basically why anyone of any skill level should at least consider it?
I think that's a large part of it. And then you can dive pretty deep into this in relation to analysing different delivery characteristics at different segments of the game. So that's the performance characteristics of each club. But as players, maybe we deliver the club differently with a 4-iron as a 7-iron and a pitch and wedge based on what it does. Some people may have an eye for knocking down wedges. Some people may have a preference to try and hit their long irons a little higher, and that causes them to shallow out and add some more dynamic loft. Technically a slightly different golf swing, but that may or may not suit that set as it progresses. That's the value of a combo set.
Absolutely.
It allows you to get the desired ball flight all the way throughout the bag. Sold.
So sold.
If it's within 5 feet, it's sold.
Come on, 5 feet. Come on, 5 feet. Oh, it's going to be close. I think it's 5.
Oh! T100s live to see another day.
Well. Feels really good. That's not what I expected. That Pro V1 has made that feel really nice. Soft.
Yeah, I couldn't emphasize that more for people to be mindful of your golf ball when you're going through any fit, but an iron fit if you are judging the performance of feel and sound. I think consistency is the name of the game here. Just wants to do the same thing. Yeah, on the standard deviation, it's fairly ridiculous.
It really is.
How low it is. I mean, anytime you get that spin as a 2-digit number.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah. That's a different sound once you get to the 7 iron a bit. Definitely got some pop to that sound.
That sounded like a clean one.
Yeah, that's hit well too.
Some lovely strikes coming out this right now.
They're suiting me quite nicely. Oh.
In terms of the hollow bodies as well, if we're going to put it in that category, the only one I can think of that kind of comes even close to this from a looks perspective, there's literally just one that even comes remotely close to competing for it, and it's $650. It's CPO2.
Yeah, it's true. It is a lot like that. Do you think P770, because people are going to ask us, is P770 in this conversation generally, or is P770 in fact actually a bit of a smaller iron?
P770 is bigger than that one.
Oh, it's bigger.
Bigger than that one.
So it would play more forgiving.
Yeah. So I kind of see it like you've got P790, P770. Then if kind of you've went from P790 thinking you want to downsize, and you look at P770 and go, it's still a little bit much for me.
Right.
I think you probably look at this point into Apex Pro.
I agree with you. I also think the offset profile in Apex Pro is by far the best of any. If people want a player's, what am I calling this again?
A
player's performance iron. This is why you would do it, because the other ones are really nice, and some of them have similar kind of address appealing looks, but I don't think any of them have this little offset.
Definitely.
I mean, I could play a set of these. There's no reason I couldn't.
It's going to be really close, that one.
Get in there.
So far, I mean, we're seeing some real performance out of these.
I loved that 7 iron. Really did.
We just look at the little combo there. Looking at the apex progression.
That's nice, isn't it?
Love it.
I like a little bit of a lower flying wedge, personally.
100%. Yeah. That's the way, that's the way Callaway would happily see the performance shake out. Slightly lower flighted. And this is where it's going to be interesting to see if you can retain that 120-foot apex.
With the 4 iron.
With the 4.
And this is where, to be honest with you, this really starts getting interesting to me, because, as I said, if I want to maybe tinker around with the combo set with the MBs, 5 and 4 iron would be the clubs of Apex Pro that would be in the bag for me.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Green is out there, 230. Is that a good number?
I hope so. Find out together. Fly it to maybe 225 at most.
Perfect.
Trickle onto the green. Oh, good God. That sounded tasty. Hello?
226.
I'm really curious how high that ball. You know me, I don't hit my long irons high enough.
That looked like it was about 106, 107 feet.
See how we did, folks?
Maybe a little more.
Oh,
110.
good guess. So that's legit.
Yeah.
First swing ever with that club, and it comes out at 110 feet and goes exactly the distance and exactly the shape I would like to play. Hello.
Yeah, that was lovely.
Good Lord. Well, I may have
Slightly higher.
I may have to consider this combo set. These are really nice.
Slightly higher there.
Yeah, look like maybe 5 or 6 feet higher. Have I died?
Yeah, slightly more speed, slightly more launch, and a fraction more spin. All things nudging up. And look at that angle of descent, 45 degrees. The kind of golden number in most fits that we see, we're telling people kind of 6 iron, 7 iron should be coming in those mid-40s. Well, 4 iron from 230 yards is coming in like a 7 iron.
So I turned that one a bit. It wasn't as good as the last two. I probably towed it a shade, but it's just so good.
Look at the consistency though. So you turned it and you lost a little bit in the launch.
Wow.
You dropped 9 feet from the previous one. You only picked up. That's been an interesting sort of result throughout. There's 2 shots you turned over that moved, a little bit right of the pin, but they didn't give you this, this flyer that people talk about that, everyone's petrified of with these modern irons. It really hasn't been. Look at the spin retention.
It's behaving like a blade in terms of consistency.
It really is. I mean, Callaway and there's other companies, spin consistency, spin robustness. Callaway's term for it is spin robustness. That's what they're talking about. Look, actually, if you look across the board here, and this is literally going shot for shot for shot. Look at those backspin standard deviations.
Wow.
That's ridiculous. 43. You're going to widen that to a couple of hundred on the space of 10, 15 shots, and
For sure.
and that type of thing. But
You'd still be ecstatic with it, wouldn't you?
over the moon.
Yeah.
Over the moon.
You've really identified one of the major sticking points for people, which is I don't want to turn one over a bit and launch it over the green, but I still want an iron that is forgiving. It has ball speed. It looks good. I'm having trouble finding anything to pick on. I don't know. Are they really expensive? They must be really expensive. Let's pick on something. Honestly, dude, they're really, really, really good.
Yeah.
I would play a full set of them, but because I'm spoiled and picky, I would probably just want to combo them.
Yeah.
From a looks perspective.
Well, let's look at that. Let's grab some MBs, Apex MBs, and see how we would do that. If you were making the perfect set,
Yes.
you probably would want some slightly different attributes from
A feel perspective.
a
for
feel
sure.
perspective, definitely.
And I'll say looks perspective, it's not by much though. Like those aren't far off from an address look. Like these are just perfect though. You know what I mean? Like you can't really argue with
We're
something.
talking about a 9 out of 10 and a 10 out of 10. Swing there.
Nice looking flight.
Sounded like a really
that
solid
felt
one.
nice. I like that a lot. Should be good too. Yep.
Really good. It's actually easier for me to detect your misses with this one.
Oh, so much easier. And believe me, I'm feeling them.
Yeah.
The Apex Pros made me feel like I was a superstar and I was hitting everything in the middle. But after hitting these, I realized that probably wasn't the case. I just wasn't detecting the quality of the strike as well. I can really feel it on this. Those flew great, but I can tell you, one struck really well, two felt okay.
When you're doing testing like this, you kind of look at those flights and you would determine in any other environment, they're basically doing the same thing.
Right.
There's nothing we can see. The ear is detecting something. The only thing that's telling us anything different right now is these standard deviation numbers.
Okay.
It tells us you're being penalised when you marginally miss this, and the spin fluctuates a little bit, the launch fluctuates a little bit, and also the ball speed.
This is a pretty interesting conversation because we always say, and I don't think it's the wrong statement to make, but generally speaking, blades should help a better player reduce their standard deviation. But this is a pretty common scenario where the forgiveness of the other iron is actually making me a hell of a lot more consistent than the blades are.
Yeah.
I didn't really expect to see that, if I'm honest.
I know.
You have to be realistic, I think. I know for a fact I do not hit the middle of the face as much as I really should, probably for my skill level, with short irons. So I will have to consider the fact that is technically it's a bit of a performance loss for me.
It is a performance loss. And if we think about the iron that you play, a T100 and what's kind of in that,
yes,
so there's again another reason why those are so good for you.
So true.
And as much as your eye has been drawn to these, this may have just swayed you almost that this might not be a blade, might not be where you want to go.
I'll tell you something. People that know me well will know I will generally make up my mind pretty damn quickly about stuff. I probably won't do this now because even 4 or 5 shots with a wedge, I didn't make bad swings, but I can really feel what happens. So I'm definitely not in a place where I want a pure blade even in the short irons yet. Maybe not forever. That's not a forever statement, but I would say if you are a person who buttons the middle, don't take this as like a discouraging thing. I just don't think I am good enough from a ball striking perspective to, I don't know, I just want to trade that off. Why, right? Like, why would I do it?
No, I don't know why you would.
It would just be for fun. The aesthetics of it are nice. It's fun to play blades. It would be a bit of fun. It wouldn't be for me to make myself better at golf.
Hey, you need to be pretty strong in your ball striking, capabilities in order to make that that jump. And you are clearly strong, but there's what is strong. It's
all relative. Right?
It's all relative. Like you have speed that can make up for other sort of whether that strike strays around a little bit, but.
Right.
This is pretty compelling.
It's really interesting.
And really fascinating to see a cavity back, hollow body, player's performance, whatever you want to call it, versus a blade. And we're kind of going, it's a unanimous victory for the player's performance.
Might be the first time we've seen that in the short iron testing.
I mean, you couldn't be anything other than thrilled if that was the set that you put together on a 4 and a 7 and a wedge, and
absolutely
seeing those performance attributes. Okay, guys, hopefully that's You know, that's been one that you've been waiting on. I'm sure it is. A lot of the comments that we've been getting was about Apex Pro. And
definitely. When soon we do the hollow body, kind of our favorite hollow body irons, needless to say, this will be in there.
Yeah, definitely. And that may end up being, at this point, it might end up being 2 tests.
Might need to be.
Because you've got things like TR21X,
right,
P790, and then you've got 770 Apex Pros.
But they've split that category a bit, haven't they?
Yeah, it might be worth diving into 2 tests in there because it's such a expanding.
It really is.
Section.
I don't think people will mind if we make 2 videos about it.
I agree. Yeah. Tell us what you think. If you want to see those 2 split into 2, I think the likelihood is there'll be a lot of people looking at those irons. Let us know in the comments if that's what you would like us to do, and we will happily oblige.
Awesome.
Good stuff. Okay, stay tuned. We'll see you again soon.